I'm going to give you a few words. I'm not going to tell you how many, but no more than five. Maybe we'll stop at three. And you'll give me your first impression, kind of a phrase of what does this mean to you? And I'll give you a little bit of context because these are broad words. But firstly, is what is your favorite C word?
uh, the first word, the first word that came to mind is probably very inappropriate. So I'm not even sure if I should say it. But then maybe the next one is Chris because it's my name.
Yes. Well, for C for your name, I all these words start with the letter C, and I figured the first one that would pop in would be the inappropriate one. I think that happened to me too, and our audience probably was thinking the same thing. I thought that was just a little bit funny. So
I would say it,
Chris,
but like my daughter might listen to this, and so I was like,
oh
I
yeah,
cuss, I see, but I didn't want to like.
although the Brits say it all the time in any context and lovingly, endearingly. So, yeah, we all know what we're talking about.
Yep.
Okay, Chris with a C. I'm going to hit you with some C words here. Firstly, give you the context to another C word is we're talking about local marketing again. We're talking about local life. Okay, so we live in a community. You live in the DFW area, and then more specifically, there's towns, neighborhoods, and so forth. And we care about schools that our kids go to. We care about the influences that our neighbors have on our family. We care about all of these things in relation to our local environment. So that's the context. And I'm going to hit you with the first one is credibility.
Credibility means the one word trust.
Consistency.
Work.
I think that was not the one I meant to say. Cancel that because we've talked about consistency before. That was in my notes and I scratched it out. Sorry for saying it. The number two one is actually character.
Integrity.
Community.
Work. There's a lot behind that answer, but for me, that's work.
Culture.
The first thing that came to my mind was Jamaican for the conversation we just had a while ago, but that has nothing to do with local stuff, but that's what came to mind.
And creativity.
Thinking.
Okay, so let's analyze these kind of all together. The reason I asked these, and the C's were kind of just for fun to keep it all into one letter, but the reason is because how I'm seeing it, and this all is tying back into marketing, but in your local community, whether you're marketing a business or you're marketing yourself as a productive member of society, or you're marketing yourself as a parent of a child that you want to get into a hard to get in school, you're always doing marketing. So what you need to show your credibility, you need to show your character, you need to evaluate your community. You want to fall into the culture that you pick, probably, rather than one to be forced on you that you don't like. And oftentimes, probably more often than we think is necessary, you have to do it in a creative way. Because if you do it in a plain way, you won't stand out. So I just your thoughts, kind of just take it and run with it. Whatever you think about how these words set your mood and your mind in that context of community.
Phrase that question one more time, because I want to make sure that I am giving you my best stream of conscience here.
From a local business marketing expert perspective, which is what you have, and with the goal being a successful member of a community, let's say, in all aspects of what that may mean. That could be faith, money, friends, environment, anything. How can you, given these 5 words that we went over, in your opinion, how do they relate to making that impact that you want to be doing?
Well, that's a good question and a deep one. There's a lot to it, and I'll just kind of go stream of conscious here and may or may not answer the question fully. Um, let's just say from the standpoint of a local business or whatever, and those words you're talking about, are you just even? I know you're talking about being a member of the community, but if I'm looking from a business perspective, it's how does what I do best serve my community? And how do I know how I best serve my community? I am out there in the community and building the culture, being a part of that community character. When I say character, I was talking about integrity, this, that, and the other is that has a lot to do with the reputation that you build in the community. So here's an example. Let me backtrack. I know we work with plumbers, for example. I'll give you a quick little story. We work with some plumbers, and some plumbers are just sitting there and they're like, hey, give us leads. What are you giving us? What are you giving us? And part of we try to explain to them that if you look at your marketing budget as a pie, there's a certain section of that pie, a large section of that pie that our team is responsible for. There's other smaller sections of that pie that you are responsible for. Part of that pie is community engagement, and this is something that I don't think a lot of local businesses get. There's a business. We have a business, for example. I'll go back to my story. We have one guy who's sitting there like, hey, give me leads, give me leads, give me leads. They don't want to do anything. It's harder. We have another guy who's like, hey, give me leads. And I'm going to this community event, that community event. I'm networking here. I'm sponsoring this. My community needs that. Let's email the people in our community to tell them what's happening in the community. So now you have an email from a plumbing business that's not just about plumbing, it's about local community events. This involvement is creative, is creating trust, is giving people an opportunity to see this owner's character so that when I now help advertise this company, this owner's already done so much work in this area that they're heard of. They know this person. There's been trust there. And so now my job is to, when somebody says plumber near me, for you to come up. When you come up, yeah, branding will help other people recognize, but the branding that you're doing within your community will help other people recognize your business. And so this is all stream of conscious, but I took what you said from a business perspective, a business who is trying to establish dominance in their local market. I'm interested to hear what you have to say though about that your question.
How do I translate that into actual community growth and making friends and being an influence on a community, on culture? What do I have to do to be credible? How do I show my character truly, and what can I do creatively? So that's the problem I'm working out on a personal basis. But I think a lot of people that may be listening don't realize how many things that they're good at can actually translate to so many other things in life.
Mm-hmm. It'll when so then when you're looking at you're moving to it's Virginia, right? Um, and you're looking to insert yourself within that community. What my question to you, and I know we have some topics we need to discuss, but what do you want to be different about your experience when you moved to Virginia versus the experience you had here in the Dallas Fort Worth area?
The experience in Dallas, and I would say probably the experience I had prior to that in all the different cities I've lived in, including in California, in Maryland, and in anywhere that I visited, is kind of just taking things as they come. Right? You go to a place or a park or a restaurant or a meetup, that's kind of in the direction I'm already foreshadowing towards. But you kind of just take things as they are without necessarily planning them in advance. Meaning, I just show up to the park, and if there's people playing basketball, I'll play with them, but I didn't prepare how I want to be portrayed or how I want to be known for. What type of people do I want to meet with or be friends with or do business with? And so with this upcoming move, I think it would be fun and effective in accomplishing the goals that I want to accomplish if there was some plan set set up in advance with tactics is not really the best word because somehow that comes off to me less credible than just being genuine using tactics, but that's also part of it. That's why I say credibility is how can I be genuine, how can I show my true self, but with a specific plan of action.